Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. One of the more interesting recruiting stories of the 2023 class has come to a close as Jaden Rashada commits to the Arizona State Sun Devils, a massive pickup for Kenny Dillingham, and a program I want to talk a little bit about because the future is a little murky for this Arizona State program. But when you start thinking about the potential for this program at Arizona State, you got to be really excited. I think Kenny Dillingham was a phenomenal hire. Now he has this quarterback of the future, and you're looking at a program that, kind of was left a little bit of a dumpster fire. It's starting to look up. Before we get into it again, I just want to say thank you. You guys, the support you guys have shown to the channel truly means a lot. Talking roster building, talk about program building, some of the stuff I love to do, and the support you guys have shown really does mean a lot. Love chopping it up about ball with you guys in the comment section. So again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys. Let's get into Jaden Rashada as the player, and then I want to spend some time looking at what Kenny Dillingham is doing with this program and maybe some future outlooks for this program at Arizona State. Jaden Rashada, I mean, there is a reason why every single country or every single program in the country wanted this dude. 6'4", 180 pounds. He's a good athlete when you watch his film. But what's most impressive to him, and when we've talked about him in the past, what jumps out is he doesn't overuse his athleticism at the high school level. So in terms of, you see a lot of these elite athletes at the quarterback position, they kind of overuse it. And then they struggle when they get to college and they're not the most athletic player on the field. And they struggle when they're not able to just run around people and be the best athlete. Jaden Rashada uses his athleticism, but he uses it to extend plays. He keeps his eyes downfield and delivers very, very good balls. He's been tearing it up at camps, and he has a very live arm, very good deep ball accuracy. And again, a guy with all the tools. Again, 6'4", good athlete, can extend those plays. And a coach like Kenny Dillingham, you have to be extremely excited about how he's going to develop with Jaden Rashada. And I think he's coming into a really, really good situation at Arizona State. Not necessarily for the program, but when you look at what they're doing with this program and what that quarterback room looks like, taking a look at what they've done in the 2023 class, the high school 2023 class is a little rocky for sure. And we'll talk about what this might look like in the future, but I still want to talk a little bit about Jaden Rashada first. He comes into a quarterback room that Drew Pine was kind of the projected starter as you head into 2023, which I think is a really good spot, right? He's not forced to start right away if he's not ready. Drew Pine's going to be there for a year and then probably move on. And Jaden Rashada is the future of this team. Whether he starts year one or not, I don't think necessarily matters. And I actually think it's a really good spot that he's in, that if he's not ready, you're not going to just throw him out into the fire. But if he is ready and he is a good player year one, he's going to start over Drew Pine. Drew Pine's a guy that you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a game manager who's going to make the right decisions most of the time. Jaden Rashada has a ceiling for this offense that is much, much higher than Drew Pine. So I assume they'll compete in the summer, and you'll see who starts at quarterback year one. And even if Drew Pine gets off to a rocky start, you have a guy like Jaden Rashada that you can go to. And I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Pine kind of trots out there early, and then if he does struggle, you do see Jaden Rashada come in. But nonetheless, the situation is great. Kenny Dillingham as the hire made a ton of sense for Arizona State because, again, I think a lot of Arizona State fans would agree with this. This program is in a lot of turmoil right now. It was left a dumpster fire might be the right word to describe. And you have a young head coach who hasn't been a head coach anywhere else, and you got to give him time. Get him time to get this program back on track. And I'll tell you, the most important thing at a college football level is landing a number one quarterback, and that is Jaden Rashada. And you take a look at what they've done in the transfer portal, kind of eerily similar to what USC did. Lincoln Riley comes into USC, and a ton of guys are opting out or transferring from the program, going other places, and the cupboards were empty. And what does Kenny Dillingham do? He goes out and signs 25 guys to the transfer portal class, and there are some names there that are young kids who didn't necessarily work out at their other schools, but you got to be really, really excited about who you're bringing in. Clayton Smith, almost a 5-star when he was recruiting in 2021. You have a couple guys from Texas that you feel really good about. And again, they needed to address through the transfer portal, because if this team is going to be competitive in 2023, it wasn't going to be with a 2023 high school recruiting class. It was going to be through the transfer portal, And they absolutely got after it. I think Drew Pine was also a very, very good get in the portal because, again, I get he might not be a stud, but he's going to be a guy that you can trust and you can trot out year one if you need to in 2023, week one, and if you need to in 2023, and he's going to be able to win you some games. You get a few guys from Texas who are really highly touted, talented players at high school, didn't necessarily work out. And again, Kenny Dillingham seemingly off to a very good start at Arizona State. And I want to talk a little bit about what this future can look like for Arizona State as they move on into the Kenny Dillingham era. And you take a look, a lot of kids are moving out of the state of California because it's expensive to live, but they're staying out on the West Coast. And you're seeing a lot of really talented dudes come to Arizona and play their high school football. I mean, Dylan Raiola is an example of a guy right in your backyard that was playing high school football in Arizona. And you take a look, and if Arizona State can continue to recruit their own state very well, I mean, this is a program that can kind of dominate in the Pac-12, especially with USC and UCLA leaving. And I get you're left with kind of a murky situation, but Kenny Dillingham, giving some time, I think can really get this program back on track. And he's going to be a guy that he's recruited really well at other places, did a phenomenal job at Oregon. He was, in my mind, the reason Dante Moore committed to Oregon in the first place. And then when Kenny Dillingham takes the job at Arizona State, Dante Moore rescinds his commitment and transfers to, or doesn't transfer, but flips his commitment to UCLA. Kenny Dillingham has shown the chops to be able to bring high caliber players into a program. And now it's about developing. And I'm very confident Kenny Dillingham, one of the brighter offensive-minded head coaches in the whole entire country, will be able to develop these players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And so, second, Arizona State is, I mean, I'm sure the Arizona State fans know this. It's a sweet school, and it seems to be a really attractive destination if you're a very, very good football player. If I was a very good football player when I was 17, I would be very excited to go to Arizona State and play ball. It's beautiful. The weather is amazing. I know it gets a little hot in the summer, but it seems to be a really attractive location for high-caliber athletes. You pair that with Kenny Dillingham, a young, charismatic head coach who can bring in studs on the offensive side of the ball. I think you're really excited about the talent that Arizona State could start bringing in as they try to build this program back. And again, Kenny Dillingham is a phenomenal hire, and he's off to a phenomenal start as he lands one of the more highly touted quarterbacks in the 2023 class, not even his first whole recruiting cycle, and he still brings in a solid group of guys and does a phenomenal job in the transfer portal. I think Arizona State will recruit better in 2024, continue to bring some transfers in that they just need to replace and kind of restock the cupboards, if you will. But again, Arizona State is in a very good spot. And I'm not saying they're going to go win the Pac-12 this year, but they're building. And you have your future quarterback in Jaden Rashada, who's a legacy guy. His dad played there. Kenny Dillingham also played at Arizona State. I feel like you got a lot of good bodies and a lot of good people in this program to kind of build back that foundation. If you're an Arizona State fan, this is an extremely exciting hire, and it's a massive hit in the recruiting class in 2023. Again, wanted to talk a little bit about this program because, again, massive win and some upside to this program. And again, it might take a couple years, but good thing Kenny Dillingham is young. And I think that administration is going to give him time to build this program back the right way. Appreciate you guys checking us out again, as usual. Wanted to keep it short. A lot of news to cover. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.